each card one time, except the yellow one. You can use it anytime. So by and I want you, for example, the pink card says that I think. You have to answer this question on this card. Why do you think, or how can a saturated solution be, or some saturated solutions that are not concentrated, how do you think this is possible? One time. If it's right, you take 1 point. If it's wrong, you will lose this point. Same thing with the green one. Same thing with the blue one. Same thing with the white one. But you can ask more than one question. You can use the yellow one as much as you want, many times.
And sir, we write the answer?
You can use your laptop to write the answers of this question. Then we will mark this activity out of 5. So each group can take 5 points. Okay? If they use the yellow card once, but they can use the yellow card many times. If you want to use the yellow card 10 times, it's okay. Okay? Yes. Now we can start. We have you can ask the question to the group captain, you can ask the question to the referee group, you can ask the question to the teacher. And if you want to ask the question to the study house.
Certain amount of articles that are dissolved doesn't make it it's concentrated.
No, not now. After 7 minutes you can ask. Write everything. Right?
No, it doesn't.
We are discussing this idea now. How it is possible to have saturated solution but not concentrated one.
How to work it.
To increase the solubility, that's the change that we can make to the saturated solution.
Yes.
Well, I think you can heat up the saturated solution and so it will be able to like
Okay, so
dissolve.
let's pose that as a question to the sir and to the groups.
Yeah, just changing the saturation, make it more capable of dissolving solutes.
And for the concentrated one. Okay, for the one.
Of course, you are allowed to use it.
Yeah, okay, that's what we know. So we're done with this?
Yeah.
I think.
A saturated solution is not necessarily a concept anymore because they're talking about the solution itself.
So we're starting with connecting yourself to the word, idea, and subject, and that's where we're going to give a real-life example of a saturated solution. That's going to be tea, because tea, as when you dissolve sugar, it reaches a maximum limit where sugar cannot be dissolved anymore. And another example of that is salt and vinegar. Now, for the concentrated solution, our examples are any household materials, such as hand soap, liquid medicine, and soft drinks. That's for the connection of
We're going to start by imposing some questions. The first question is going to be, what is a saturated solution? A
saturated solution is a solution that has the capacity to dissolve a very specific amount of solution. So for example, if you have a solvent and you have a highly insoluble salt, in order for the solution to become unsaturated, you can need a very small amount of that insoluble salt. As soon as you reach that very specific amount, the solvent can no longer dissolve any more of that insoluble salt. Now, due to it having a very small amount of that solute, it's not really concentrated, or its concentration, you can say, is extremely low. But when it comes to actual concentrated solutions, that's not the case. And that takes me to our second question: what is a concentrated solution? A concentrated solution is, in reference to a saturated one, is a solution that has a solvent with a high capacity of dissolving a solute. Taking, to example, tea. When you make tea and you decide to add some sugar, there is a specific amount of sugar that you can keep on adding and adding and adding until you realize that the tea becomes too sweet and it can no longer dissolve any more sugar. At that moment, the moment where the tea can no longer dissolve any more sugar because it became too sweet, that is when the tea has become too concentrated.
Okay, instead of boring you guys, I want you guys to interact with us. I'm gonna pose a question. I want one of the groups to answer it. So, does changing the saturation of a solution make it more capable of dissolving the solute? Again, does changing the saturation of a solution make it more capable of dissolving the solute, and why? We have.
In my opinion, yes, it does make it more capable of dissolving a solute, because a saturated solution has the maximum capability of dissolving a solute. So when you increase the saturation, it allows it to dissolve more solute.
Yeah, that's correct. Third question. Can heating a concentrated solution make it a saturated one, and why? Okay, any volunteers?
It makes it less saturated because it allows the solute to dissolve even more.
That's correct. Round of applause.
Now, to finally answer the question, explaining why a saturated solution is not necessarily a concentrated one, we think that a saturated solution does not necessarily have to be a concentrated one due to a solvent's ability to dissolve a solute, in which a solvent, because we know that for a fact some solvents can dissolve solutes in very, very small amounts, making them saturated but not concentrated.
Which make us feel continue,
which makes us feel that not all saturated solutions have to necessarily be concentrated ones, and not all concentrated solutions have to be saturated ones. To answer this question, we have used 5 of these
different
action cards. The first one that we used was
connecting yourself to the word, idea, subject, and posing questions, answering them, or making the groups answering them.
And then finally, we answered the main question using the 3 cards: I think, I know, and I feel.
Thank you.